Good afternoon and welcome to More Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be discussing Sandstorm in his robot mode. Yes, we're talking about Transformers Legacy United G1, the Triple Changer Sandstorm. We finally got the peace loving guy. Isn't that nice? He's as peace loving as Beachcomber, except Beachcomber's planet didn't die. And isn't that sad? Yeah, Rodimus Prime and Ultra Magnus got together and decided, oh, we can't allow the Decepticons to have this beautiful planet. Just like with the Golden Lagoon, we've got to destroy it. And that's what happened. And it's really sad because Sandstorm liked his planet and it was really neat. And then everybody got pushed to Cybertron and participate in the war. Yay! Anyway, so I have a few things here, and we're going to move Beachcomber off to the side. We're going to do things a little differently today, actually, by first off comparing triple changers, because a lot of people just want to see, the differences and stuff like that. So today's the day we talk about sizes. So here we go with Voyager class Springer compared to Leader class Sandstorm. Their shoulders are actually on the same level, but Springer's shoulders are higher than his head. If we put them face to face, and Springer, lower your swords. We don't need you poking anybody with those deadly weapons of yours. Okay, we're gonna spin them off to the sides and put you face to face. Oh, it's a loving embrace. Okay, here we go. Their heads are actually at the same level. Isn't that neat? So Sandstorm's sitting at the same time as Springer here, at the same size as Springer. Width-wise, actually, yeah, on the width side they both are. On the height side they both are. They are pretty darn close to one another in a lot of features, except the fact that Sandstorm has these big tire things, and then this big bit that sits over his head with these little whirly fan. You can rotate that just a bit. Let's rotate that, and we're going to shut that top bit off. There we go. Yeah, now you get to spin the propeller on your hat. Anyway, so that is the Sandstorm and Springer, which both share very similar vehicle modes, and I can't wait to really talk about those when we discuss those on a later time. Setting Springer off to the side, knocking stuff over here at blind_prime. Springer, can't you just be just stand, my friend? There you go. That's a good guy. All right, I'm gonna move. Oh, that was what was going on with you. Your sword was still over there. Okay, so there's Cliffjumper there. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Where is Blitzwing? Here we go. We got a Blitzwing. Now, Blitzwing, I would disliked his aircraft mode, and I personally disliked his tank mode. I thought the tank mode was honestly the best vehicle mode out of this guy, but the tank mode had a major problem of its turret not being blast effect compatible, which I just dislike. And also, it's too small. I think his tank mode is a bit too small. You can't do the fun scene of Cup on the tank mode for Blitzwing. But the robot mode for Blitzwing, on the other hand, is pretty excellent. Like, this guy's robot mode is superb. So let's compare these guys side to side, because they're both leader classes. They're both triple changers, so they should both be sitting on about the same levels, right? Wrong. Put them face to face, and Blitzwing is taller. Blitzwing, the top of his head actually comes up to midway through this propeller thing above Sandstorm's head, and his shoulders. Blitzwing's the taller guy. Weight wise, that's actually difficult. I think they are nearly the same weight. Definitely made out of similar plastics. It's nice. Though I don't like the plastics that they used for the shoulders for Sandstorm. I don't know. Yeah, it's a different plastic. It just feels a bit different. Where Blitzwing here is just this solid, cold feeling plastic all the way down, all the way through. His robot mode is quite excellent. I really, I can't deny that. So let's set Blitzwing off over here, off to the side, and let's bring out our final triple changer, not counting the monster people. Dragonfly and not Dragonfly, maybe Dragonfly, Snapdragon, and Apeface. I have them somewhere in my collection, but I didn't really think they were appropriate for this kind of matchup because what we're doing here is just kind of comparing things. All right, so with Astrotrain's booties, he stands taller. Astrotrain also stands taller if you put them face to face. Astrotrain, the top of his head lines up with the top of this doohickey that's above the head of Sandstorm, and putting them back to back in the top of all the stuff around Astrotrain that's taller than his head lines up with all the stuff around Sandstorm that's taller than his head. Weight wise, ooh, ooh, yeah, it's no question. Astrotrain here is much heavier. Astrotrain, of course, being the leader class from Siege, an amazing leader class. I really wish I managed to find Galaxy Shuttle whenever that was released because I really wanted a Galaxy Shuttle to go with um, my Victory Saber, but sadly, no Galaxy Shuttle for Blind Prime. But Astrotrain here was a nice find at a Ross back in 2020. I picked this guy up for 15 bucks, if you can believe it. Isn't that wild? All right, we're going to set Astrotrain off to the side. We don't have the other two triple changers, but before we get into the real review of Astrotrain, and since I'm doing chapters now, which by the way I'm doing chapters now, I'm going to make some chapters about this, and this will be the triple changer chapter. And I wanted to also mention to you my personal hopes for the next two triple changers, Broadside and Octane. Personally, Blind Prime here would very much like it if both of those figures were commander class, because both of those guys were bigger and both of those guys' vehicle modes are a lot bigger. So, Octane becomes a semi truck like Optimus Prime, but it's a tanker truck. And there's no disappearing of the trailer there. The trailer becomes part of him in the truck. It's really interesting how they got an entire semi truck and trailer to transform into Octane. And then he becomes a passenger liner, and I may be found in a ditch somewhere for saying this, but I'll still say it, and it's not going to be hard for you, Boeing, to come after me. But I figured hopefully I'm too small to be noticed, but here's my hope that Octane's aircraft mode is a Boeing. I think it would just be appropriate if it was something that looked like a Boeing 747 or 737 or 757. Look like a Boeing. Make it look like a Boeing. And, it's just a perfect Decepticon vehicle, in my opinion. And then we have Broadside, who becomes I think either an aircraft carrier or a destroyer, shipwise, and also a C-130, a giant aircraft. So Broadside is a very cool guy, and I would love to see both of them, but I would absolutely 100% love it if they were commander class, because I think both of those really deserves the commander class treatment in order to get those alternate modes correct. I'm a big proponent on alternate modes and a unique transformation. I think that would be an exceptional challenge to try and get a battleship to become a robot and a C-130 to become a robot, but also the C-130 to become the battleship, or the battleship to become the C-130. It intrigues me, and I am very excited to see that one, because that was one of the weirdest ones out of the entire bunch whenever it came to the sizes of the vehicle modes, because he's got like the craziest big vehicle modes. So him and Octane both have very large vehicle modes, and I just feel like it would be appropriate for them both to be included like that. Either that, or with Octane, you have the trailer actually the round part of that trailer disconnects from the trailer itself and becomes the fuselage for the jet mode. I could see that also happening. But let me know in the comments about those things. And now let's get into the actual review for Sandstorm. Okay, review chapter starting now. All right, we have a really amazing figure here with Sandstorm. He is just exceptional. He's got a great movement in his arms. Sadly, no double joints, which I think, had he have had double joints, that would just be icing on the cake here whenever it came to his robot mode. The double joints here would be quite excellent. I'm very happy with the majority of this robot mode, but I do think that Oops, I mistransformed him a bit. I do think that the making some double joints for those elbows would have really, really assisted and really gone the extra mile. But we also have here the hands. And 1 second, I stepped on something in my office. I got it. Okay, his hands are decently well sculpted. They've got some really great work there done on them. They feel a little more cartoonish and a little more like the hands you would see in the TV show than we've experienced in other Transformers. I'm liking these hands. I think they are very close to the show. He's his arms are very square and blocky, but they have two siege ports on them, which is nice. We don't. I'm going to take that accessory off. We'll talk about the accessories in a bit. So he's got two wonderful siege ports, blast ports, siege ports on his arms, and his arm also raises up at a 90. I forgot to mention that, and the hand does spin, which is nice. The texture on these arms is very smooth and very sleek. You don't. There's some textures, but it's subdued. It not in a bad way though. In a it feels right way. I don't know. This guy just feels correct when it comes to his arms. His chest area here is yeah, both arms are exactly the same. There's his gun. Let's get it out of his hands so we can talk about that in the accessory pile here. His both of his arms are the same, and they have a little bobble that sticks out, but we'll talk about that in transformation points. Onward to the chest. The chest is very flat. I love me some vent action going on there. That is some cool vents going on each of his pectorals. He's got this big flat area in the center of his chest. I wonder if that's where the Autobot symbol's painted. Hey, start letting me know in the comments, where's the Autobot symbol painted on these guys? I always like to know. Now coming down here, his chest is very squarish, but very sturdy. It's solid, and it's got some really good textures on the sides because of what it becomes in vehicle mode. Really wonderful textures going on all over the place on this thing. And the sides have a corrugated steel pattern texture, which is really nice. And coming up here to his head is very square. It's very blockish, but he's also got kind of an Optimus Prime head or a hoist head in the sense he's got that mouth guard, and then he's got some eyes above that mouth guard. Really nice. But his head is just so square and blocky, and it doesn't really have much movement because of its location. That is one of the things I do dislike about this figure is this entire thing behind his head. I don't know if that was in the cartoon or not. I'm not sure about that. Let me know in the comments. Is this spot on to the cartoon? Um, we can go ahead and actually remove that accessory too. We'll talk about that in a bit. There was an accessory above his head that was the whirligig that I was talking about spinning earlier, and now you can get at his head a little easier. But still, it's very blocky. It doesn't like to move around in its socket, and it's also got these points around it that stick up to make it difficult to maneuver his head. I'll say that. Now, on either side of his head, he's got some sculpt work going on in there. Not too bad, not too shabby. Now let's move on down to his leg. We'll talk about his back in a bit because his back needs it's kind of a separate conversation, and so do that's everything in his backpack. So coming down here to his legs, let's see if they've done it. Have they done it this time? We get minimal sculpting on the thighs again with the lack of sculpting on the thighs. Come on, people. Come on, Hasbro. Give us some more sculpting on the thighs. I appreciate what you did put in here. There are some lines, but there's nothing on the sides of these thighs. There's just it's pretty bland, honestly, and that's a shame. But he does kick at a 90 on the side, and he doesn't kick back too far because of his back kibble. He does kick forwards at 90, and his knee does move at a 90, maybe just a little more. He does have ankle tilt, which is nice, and because of the way the transformation works, his foot does like rock backwards, and you can halfway close it, or you can actually close it entirely if you want. Now the legs down here have some really fun sculpt work going on in them for what they are. There's some cool circle vents. There's a really nice pattern of metal, some bolts happening. It feels really cool, and it's because they become the front of the dune buggy mode, but it's not bad. It's really well done. It feels amazing in the hand, and these feet are really, really cool. I like his feet. I don't. I'm not sure if other people like his feet or not, but I like how these feet feel. They match his legs in texture. They feel right. Um, he does have a bit, kibble hanging off over here on the side. With how much they like the paneling with this little bit here, I'm surprised they didn't give you an extra, uh, little hinge in there, or maybe put this on a longer bar hinge so that you could actually fold this back panel into the back of the leg, so that this wheel sitting off to the side could actually rest above the heel. But I wonder if that's because in the animation he actually had this stuff sticking out to the side. I'm not exactly sure on that. Let me know in the comments what's going on with this side of his leg. Why didn't they? Is there a reason they didn't just put an extra hinge there, or allow the hinge that's already there to continue its travels to fold over the back? Yeah, I would really like to know the answer to that. And it's possibly just because they wanted to increase the girth of the legs and how thick the legs look. Now, moving around to his back, we've got some on the backs of his legs. There's no hollowness there. It's all sturdy. It's all nice. There's no not even waffling going on there. Not even on the inside of the panels is there waffling. The inside of these panels feels great, by the way. Now, the backpack here, his back kibble, does hang out below his waist, so he can't get 360-degree rotation in the waist, but it does fold up nicely. And there's two wheels over his shoulders. The helicopter blades are all folded up in their own little area, which is part of the helicopter mode when it unfolds. And there's this little locking piece that's folded up, locking all the propellers in place. You can actually unfold that and unlock the propellers, but you can also fold that back in and it snaps in place. It made a nice snapping noise. So let's finish this off with a final little size comparison and then get into his accessories. Final size comparison is with where did you go? Oh, here he is. Beachcomber, the other dune buggy. Yay, we've got two dune buggies now. Isn't that nice? And he's backwards. Beachcomber. Alright, so let's put Beachcomber in front. There we go. Beachcomber, the top of his head comes midway up the chest of the dune buggy guy here. Sandstorm. Sandstorm can raise his arm up, and Beachcomber can squeeze in next to him. Like, Sandstorm becomes a much bigger dune buggy than than Beachcomber here. Now, Beachcomber and Sandstorm also become two different types of dune buggy. Sandstorm becomes more of that long-fronted dune buggy, and Beachcomber becomes more of the dune buggy that was from that show from the 70s with the dune buggy in it, which I forgot the name of. But there was a dune buggy that talked. Anyway, Beachcomber becomes more like that dune buggy. And here is Cliffjumper, the smallest of the deluxes. And Cliffjumper comes up to the waist of Sandstorm. And to the side, Sandstorm can, barely get his arm to Beachcomber because Beachcomber's almost too low for Sandstorm to even touch. Beachcomber's shoulder edge comes up to just above, actually just at the hip line for Sandstorm. Okay, now let's set Sandstorm off to the side and go over some of these accessories real quick. Sandstorm comes with the nice little gun. It's also got two siege pegs, one on each side of it, not including the handle, which is its own siege peg, but no siege ports, which is kind of sad because he doesn't really come with anything that has ports. He gets this little helicopter spinny blade thing that's on its own unique siege peg, which is a little larger than normal siege pegs, which is kind of a pain. It unfolds, but one side can unfold flat and actually fold nice and flat against the side, but because of the propeller, the other side can't do that. So I'm just very confused by this accessory. I really am. I don't know why that side does what it does. Sorry, I'm leaking a little bit. Cream touched me in the eye last night when it was like, oh, I want loves, and then he just tapped me in my eye, booped me in the eye, and now I'm dealing with a runny nose today. Don't worry, it's cleaned out, and I put some antibacterial drops in there. I'm okay. Just gonna have to deal with the repercussions of my cat poking me in the eye. Okay, so those are the accessories we talked about. Here's a tiny gun, a holdout blaster, if you will. I don't know what it's supposed to do. I don't know what it's supposed to go to other than, him holding it. Like, it has some cool texture to it. It's got some really neat textures. Like it's been spun or something. It's really oddly, it feels really weird. But it's a tiny little holdout blaster. You he can carry it in his hand. It's kind of nice. Sandstorm, for a peace-loving guy, comes with 2 guns. Not every Transformer here has come with 2 guns. And I'm just surprised he comes with 2 guns. Okay, now finally, the best accessory, in my opinion. We'll talk about one of the best accessories. We'll talk about this one first. This is the winch and attachment combo piece, and you can actually, it's on a rope. You can extend, and you can have him holding the winch on his forearm. Okay, so I'm just going to set your winch on your forearm. There you go. And then he can have the winch like attached to this, or where's Springer? Where did I put you? Where is Springer? Well, we can use him. So Beachcomber here's got a siege port on his back area, so we can go ahead and plug this in because Sandstorm's a rescue robot. So now Beachcomber's attached, and then Sandstorm's like, "I've got you, buddy," and he can just kind of pull him back to dry land using the winch. I think it's neat. He can have that where it's obvious he's getting rescued with the winch. It's fun. And then here we have a fun little cage thing that's missing its ends because it's not really a cage. It's just a place where somebody can lay down, and this will stop them from rolling off to either side. I don't know what stops them from sliding out, but oh well. That's not too bad. You can fit your thumb in there or a couple of fingers. Not really much that can fit inside of this Transformer-wise, but it's still a really neat accessory, I think. You can unplug it from its little parts, and it's like a little insect. It's got these little legs, 8 little legs, and you just plug 2 of those or 4 of those into little spots, and then the rest of them will pop together. That's neat. It's a fun little accessory. I enjoy it. I think it's cool. I think it's just neat to get things like this. It's fun to have stuff like this in the Transformers collection because they're just neat accessories, and you can do a lot of world building things with your dioramas. Quite interesting. Anyway, let me unplug this before I haven't actually come here. There it goes. I haven't actually tested the strength of the plastic on that. I don't intend to really, but that is Sandstorm in his robot mode. My overall rating for this vehicle, for this robot mode, will be a 9 out of 10. I think it's got it. It's got it. Whatever it is, this dude's got it. He's balanced. His weight is evenly distributed. You would think that this thing on his back would be too heavy, and it kind of is really heavy, but at the same time his legs are just as heavy, so they do help keep him stable. And I'm going to give a thumbs up to the engineers for this one. So let's get tune in next Pride, where we'll be talking about the Blindformers episode, where I'll be teaching you verbally how to transform him from his robot mode into both of his vehicle modes. And you can follow along with your own Sandstorm if you have one at home, or you can listen along if you don't feel like looking. Till next Pride, bye-bye for now.